A Neanderthal, who lived between 130,000 and 40,000 years ago, had a robust build with a broad chest, strong limbs, and a prominent brow ridge. Their faces were slightly forward projecting with wide noses. Adapted for cold climates, a striking blend of human familiarity and ancient resilience, these 4,000-year-old snow goggles, used by Arctic peoples, were crafted from bone, wood, or ivory. Narrow slits reduced sunlight reflecting off snow and ice, preventing snow blindness. Ingenious in design, they represent one of humanity's earliest forms of eye protection technology adapted to extreme environments. 82-year-old woman discovered she had carried a baby inside her for 40 years without knowing. Believing her abdominal pain was caused by a tumor, doctors found a calcified fetus, a rare medical phenomenon known as or stone baby. In 1965, revolutionary Che Guevara was photographed in disguise while attempting to enter Ireland. Wearing glasses and a suit, he concealed his identity during international travels. The rare image reveals a lesser-known moment in the life of one of history's most recognizable figures. In 1910, millionaire Benjamin Guggenheim was photographed in a formal portrait. Just 2 years before boarding the Titanic, during the ship's sinking in 1912, he refused a lifeboat, dressing in evening wear and declaring he would play the game straight to the end. In 1980, photos show David Reimer on the left as himself, and on the right as Brenda, the identity forced upon him after a botched circumcision. Following years of trauma under a failed gender reassignment experiment, he reclaimed his male identity at age 15. 2001, Russian President Vladimir Putin presented flowers to Olympic gymnast Alina Kabeva. The moment later fueled persistent rumors that she was his longtime mistress and mother of his children, though neither has ever publicly confirmed their relationship. In 1877, during the Madras famine under British colonial rule, a man was photographed guarding his starving family from cannibals. The haunting image captures the desperation and suffering caused by one of the deadliest famines in India's history. An Auschwitz survivor gently holds her great-granddaughter, a moment bridging horror and hope. The image embodies the endurance of the human spirit, from surviving one of history's darkest chapters to witnessing new generations born into freedom and light. In 1994, model Anna Nicole Smith, 26, married billionaire J. Howard Marshall, 89. After his death a year later, his $1.6 billion estate went entirely to his son. Despite lengthy court battles, Anna never received any inheritance, sparking years of public controversy. 1971, a 14-year-old Osama bin Laden was photographed at Oxford, appearing as an ordinary student abroad. Decades later, he would become the world's most wanted terrorist, a chilling reminder of how ordinary beginnings can precede unimaginable infamy. In 1905, a mother and daughter posed together for a portrait, their expressions calm and dignified. The image reflects the tenderness of family bonds and the timeless grace of early 20th century portrait photography. In 1880, the Brooklyn Bridge stood as a massive work in progress. Steel cables stretched across the East River, linking Manhattan and Brooklyn for the first time. Thousands of workers labored daily, building what would soon define New York's skyline forever. In the 1960s, 25-year-old Mary Brooks of Liverpool, England, cared for her 9 children, a family that included both twins and triplets. Her story captured the challenges and resilience of motherhood in post-war Britain. In the early 1900s, open-air schools emerged to combat tuberculosis. Originating in Germany, they spread worldwide, moving classes outdoors for sunlight and ventilation. Students studied in blankets through winter, improving health and reducing disease, a milestone in public health education. Around 700 years ago, Polynesian settlers brought tattooing to New Zealand, where it became ta moko, the sacred art of the Ambori, carved with bone chisels and pigment. Each design marked ancestry, status, and courage, symbolizing identity through pain and pride. In April 1975, as Saigon fell, the US launched Operation Babylift, flying thousands of South Vietnamese children to new homes abroad. The first flight tragically crashed, and many airlifted weren't true orphans, raising lasting questions of loss, identity, and morality. During World War II, the Allies built a secret ghost army, a unit of inflatable tanks, fake radios, and recorded battle sounds designed to deceive German forces about the D-Day invasion. It saved thousands of lives through illusion and artistry. In 1974, a farmer in Shanxi, China, uncovered a life-sized clay soldier, part of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's vast underground army. Thousands of unique terracotta warriors guard his unopened tomb, a buried empire built in pursuit of immortality. Life in a World War I trench was cold, muddy, and dangerous. Soldiers faced rats, lice, and constant shellfire while surviving on hard biscuits and canned meat. Between fear and boredom, friendship kept them going in the dark. Flooded dugouts. By the early 1920s, Vladimir Lenin's health collapsed after years of revolution and civil war. Struck by 3 strokes, he lost his speech and power. Lenin died in 1924 at 53, leaving Stalin to shape the Soviet Union's future. Thousands of years ago, Arctic indigenous communities crafted waterproof clothing from animal intestines. The material's tiny pores let sweat escape but blocked rain, keeping hunters dry in freezing storms. Expertly stitched gut puckas proved both breathable and essential for survival. In 1929, during Prohibition, authorities built a towering display from seized barrels of alcohol, a symbol of defiance and control. Soon after, the entire structure was destroyed, marking another moment in America's fight to enforce the nationwide alcohol ban. On April 12, 1912, the RMS Titanic was photographed for the last time. 2 days later, the unsinkable ship struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank, claiming over 1,500 lives in a tragedy that shocked the world. In the 1930s, at the Berlin Zoo, a handler gave Roland a 4,000-pound elephant seal, a refreshing snow bath. The rare sight captured the bond between human and animal, showcasing care and curiosity in an age before modern zoology. In 1929, Paris, a young girl offered lilies to a police officer on duty. The tender exchange, captured on camera, reflected a brief moment of warmth and innocence amid the city's bustling streets and post-war transformation. In 1935, Brooklyn, crowds gathered for a 4th of July celebration to watch the champion watermelon eater proudly claim victory. Amid laughter and summer heat, the contest captured the light-hearted spirit of American festivities during the Great Depression. In 1890, Alabama, a daughter gently taught her mother how to read, a quiet act of empowerment in a time when education for women was limited. The scene symbolized hope, resilience, and the passing of knowledge across generations. In 1900 Paris, dozens of balloons lifted into the sky in a spectacular race that captivated onlookers. The event captured the world's fascination with flight at the dawn of a new century, symbolizing innovation, adventure, and human ambition. During World War II in Paris, a woman paused amid the hardships of occupation to feed a homeless cat. The quiet act of kindness stood out against the backdrop of war, reflecting humanity's compassion, even in its darkest hours. In 1909, the RMS Mauretania stood dry-docked in Liverpool, a marvel of early 20th century engineering. Then, the fastest ship in the world. Her towering hull and massive propellers symbolized Britain's dominance in transatlantic travel and naval innovation. In 1912, Belgium, villagers made their way to market by horse and cart, carrying fresh produce and goods. The simple scene captured a glimpse of everyday European life on the eve of World War I's vast and sudden change. In 1922, Chicago, a woman rode her bicycle through the city streets, a symbol of freedom and modernity in a changing era. Her confident stride reflected the growing independence of women in early 20th century America. In 1948, Albert Einstein sat in his Princeton study, surrounded by papers and books that shaped modern physics. With his uncombed hair and thoughtful gaze, he remained a symbol of intellect, curiosity, and the enduring quest for understanding. In 1948, a young boy stood before a store window, eyes wide with wonder, as he watched television for the first time. The moment captured the dawn of a new era, when moving images began to reshape imagination and everyday life. In 1943, during World War II, a woman skillfully ground a machined part in a factory workshop. As men fought overseas, women filled industrial roles, proving their precision and strength while transforming the workforce and redefining gender roles forever. In 1956, finalists of the Miss Correct Posture contest posed proudly beside their ex, judged on beauty, balance, and spinal alignment. The event reflected mid-century America's fascination with health, poise, and the merging of science with style. In 1929, The Chrysler Building rose high above New York's skyline, its steel frame glinting in the sun. Built during the race for the world's tallest skyscraper, it became an enduring symbol of Art Deco, ambition, and American modernity. In 1905, a woman and 3 young girls strolled through Manhattan's Madison Park, their dresses and hats reflecting the elegance of the Edwardian era. The peaceful scene offered a glimpse of family life amid a rapidly modernizing New York City. In 1925, a fire brigade raced through city streets with horse-drawn engines and early motorized trucks. Their coordinated urgency and courage captured a pivotal moment in firefighting history, bridging the age of steam with the rise of modern technology. In 1900 Pennsylvania, young breaker boys labored at the Woodward coal mines, separating coal from rock for meager pay. Covered in dust, they worked long hours in harsh conditions, a stark reminder of child labor during America's industrial age. In 1870, a couple shared an Italian meal by candlelight, savoring handmade pasta and wine. The simple yet intimate scene reflected the warmth of Italian culture, where food, love, and conversation intertwined at the heart of daily life. In the 1910s, a young girl sat beside her dog on Christmas morning, surrounded by simple decorations and gifts. The tender moment captured the timeless joy of companionship and the innocence of holiday celebrations from a bygone era. In 1937, New York City, pedestrians pressed against a restaurant window, watching a cook stir a steaming pot of spaghetti. The lively scene reflected the city's fascination with food, culture, and the simple pleasure of street-side curiosity during the Depression era. In 1954, Buckinghamshire, a milkman waded through floodwaters to make his daily deliveries. Balancing bottles in hand, he embodied quiet perseverance, a reminder that even in hardship, duty and routine carried on with unwavering resolve. In 1936, London, 2 women sat proudly in a newly designed 2.5 horsepower Wrightcraft scooter car, a tiny motor vehicle built for city streets. The quirky invention captured the era's fascination with innovation, mobility, and the charm of modern convenience. In 1941, the New York City subway bustled with commuters in fedoras and overcoats, the rumble of trains echoing through tiled tunnels. Beneath the city's surface, millions moved in rhythm, a portrait of urban life on the brink of war. In 1917, an elderly woman sat on her porch in the Appalachian Mountains, calmly smoking a pipe. Her weathered face and quiet gaze reflected a life shaped by endurance, simplicity, and the rugged beauty of rural America. In 1940s New York, children filled the streets with laughter, playing stickball and chasing each other between parked cars. Amid post-war change, their carefree joy captured the spirit of resilience and community that defined a generation growing up in the city. During World War II, a child clung to their father in uniform, saying goodbye before his departure to the front lines. The tender farewell, repeated in countless homes, captured the quiet heartbreak and courage shared by families at war. In 1957, a llama stood in the middle of New York's Times Square, calmly surrounded by flashing lights and curious onlookers. The surreal sight captured the city's spirit, where the unexpected could turn an ordinary day into a spectacle. In 1938, West Virginia, a coal miner spent a rare moment of leisure with his family, sharing smiles and simple comforts after long, grueling hours underground. The scene reflected the resilience, warmth, and quiet joys of life in America's mining communities. In the late 19th century, a young couple lived inside a modest log home in Steele County, Kentucky. Surrounded by handmade furniture and simple comforts, their daily life reflected the hard work, intimacy, and resourcefulness of rural Appalachian living. In 1936, Kern County, California, locals gathered at a community barbershop, exchanging stories and laughter while getting haircuts. The scene captured the barbershop's role as a social hub, where everyday life and camaraderie intertwined during the Great Depression. In the 1920s, a group of friends posed together for a photograph, dressed in the era's stylish attire. Their smiles and closeness captured the spirit of camaraderie, leisure, and optimism during a decade of cultural change and modernity. In 1904, Massachusetts, a group of children gathered together outdoors, their faces filled with curiosity and energy. The scene offered a glimpse of early 20th century childhood, where play, friendship, and community shaped daily life before modern distractions. After World War II, a Polish photographer used a custom backdrop to mask the ruins of his city, capturing portraits that hid the devastation behind carefully staged scenes. The images reflected resilience, creativity, and the human desire for normalcy amid destruction. In 1925 Texas, two children set out to fish, carrying rods and bait along a quiet riverbank. Their simple adventure captured the carefree joys of rural childhood, where nature, patience, and companionship defined everyday life. In June 1910, in Bonham, Texas, a cowboy sat beside his horse atop a hill, surveying the rugged landscape. The quiet moment captured the spirit of the Old West independence, connection to the land, and the enduring bond between rider and steed. In the 1880s, new parents posed proudly with their quadruplets, a rare and remarkable sight. Surrounded by love and careful attention, the family captured the wonder, challenges, and resilience of raising multiple children in a time of limited resources and medical knowledge. On the early 1900s, a family embarked on a leisurely trip, dressed in their finest attire and traveling together. The photograph captured a moment of shared adventure, bonding, and the emerging culture of recreation during a rapidly modernizing era. In 1904, a driver navigated the streets in a Cadillac Model B runabout. The early automobile, sleek and innovative for its time, symbolized the dawn of motorized travel and the growing excitement of personal mobility in the early 20th century. In 1927, London, two women shared a laugh while riding a delivery bike through bustling streets. The playful moment captured the joy, independence, and changing roles of women in a city embracing modernity and urban life. An American soldier, having lost his legs in World War I, stood as a testament to sacrifice and resilience. His presence reflected the profound human cost of the conflict and the courage required to face life forever changed by war. In 1950, a father guided his son as they fed a giraffe at London Zoo. The moment captured curiosity, wonder, and the simple joys of family outings, highlighting the timeless bond between parent and child amid the excitement of wildlife. In 1905, France, a woman donned early motorcycling attire, ready to ride through city streets. Her outfit reflected both practicality and daring, capturing the spirit of adventure and the growing presence of women in modern, fast-paced pursuits. In the 1910s, a mother and daughter rode together on a motorcycle sidecar, enjoying the thrill of travel and freedom. The image captured a blend of adventure, familial bond, and the early embrace of motorized transportation in everyday life. Three students at Hampton University played netball on the campus grounds. The scene captured youthful energy, athleticism, and the early development of women's sports in historically black colleges, reflecting both education and empowerment in the early 20th century. In 1920s New York, a bustling filling station serviced cars lining up for fuel, oil, and maintenance. The scene captured the rise of automobile culture, urban growth, and the everyday routines that defined city life during America's roaring decade. In the 1940s, a young couple shared a tender moment, embodying love and hope amid a world at war. Their closeness reflected the enduring bonds of romance, resilience, and the human desire for connection during uncertain times. In 1906 Colorado, two girls posed together, dressed in the fashions of the era. Their smiles and companionship captured the innocence of childhood and the quiet rhythms of life in the American West at the turn of the century. In the 1870s, a young daughter sat beside her father, capturing a quiet moment of familial closeness. The portrait reflected the bonds, affection, and social customs of Victorian-era family life, preserving a timeless snapshot of parent and child. In an era before modern machinery, hard work meant long hours of physical labor. Workers toiled in fields, factories, and mines, their sweat and effort shaping communities and livelihoods, reflecting a time when daily survival depended on strength, skill, and endurance. In 1944, while her husband served in World War II, her mother worked on the family car. Her hands-on effort reflected the determination, independence, and crucial contributions of women on the home front during a time of global conflict. In 1889, a young boy sat beside his dog, capturing the timeless bond between child and companion. The simple portrait reflected friendship, loyalty, and the quiet joys of childhood in a world far removed from modern distractions. In October 1920, a young girl in Little Orleans, Maryland, carefully stirred a pot of apple butter. The scene captured rural life, seasonal traditions, and the hands-on skills passed through generations in early 20th century America. In 1928, the streets of New York City buzzed with elegance as men in tailored suits and women in stylish dresses strolled along sidewalks. The scene reflected the city's vibrant energy, fashion, and the glamour of the Roaring Twenties. In 1916, a French soldier donned a gas mask on the battlefields of World War I. The protective gear symbolized the terrifying new threats of modern warfare, highlighting both innovation and the harsh realities of life in the trenches. In 1901, Benton County, Arkansas, a young girl posed with her goat, reflecting rural life and the close bond between children and farm animals. The scene captured simplicity, responsibility, and the rhythms of early 20th century agricultural communities. In 1890 Washington, a group of tough-looking men posed together, their rugged appearance reflecting the hard labor and frontier spirit of the era. The photograph captured strength, resilience, and the gritty character of life in America's Pacific Northwest. In 1891 Idaho, workmen laid a wooden water pipeline, carving and assembling logs with precision. The project reflected the ingenuity, labor, and determination required to bring essential infrastructure to growing communities in the American West.